So it's 7:01.
Bye.
So we have a quorum.
Aye.
Just
Uh,
with three of us? Can you hear me?
Yes, Gene, we can hear you. I can.
Okay.
We have a quorum. We only need three. There's 5 board members. Hopefully one or maybe both of the others will show up. But if not, we have a quorum.
Okay.
It's, let me see, September 16th, 7:02 PM. Approval of minutes. Now, our minutes are videos, and the videos are posted online. So there's really no way for us to make a mistake as to what was done at the meetings. So what we need is a motion to approve the minutes from our last board meeting.
I move we approve the meetings from the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
I
Okay. Vacant property on Reamer. There's on Reamer, the house that burned down. The city, when they tore down the structure, they did clean up the property. And the property has been reported again, but it takes half a year at least now, maybe longer, since the new mayor has come in, because he has de-emphasized neighborhood protection and not a lot of the city ordinances that neighborhood protection used to do. I think now it's called Department of something. But you know, while we probably shouldn't, we could maintain that property. I mean, it would be at our own cost. We would lose money. But I want you all to consider that. Pay someone to maintain that property. That property doesn't have a house. I'm not suggesting we do any property with houses on them, even if they're vacant, but that property does not have a house.
How
So-
much would it charge how much would we be charged to clean it up?
I'll have to ask the person that does the Mahoning property,
Correct.
which is Salas, who lives here in the neighborhood. And he doesn't charge, he charges us $75 every time he does that property on Mahoning and Imogene. So it's $150 a month. And that's actually the cheapest we've had probably in the last 4 or 5 years. I can ask him to see how much he would charge. I'm sure that the first time it would be more. Simply because if you've gone by there, those weeds are what, maybe 5, 6 feet high. But after that, I imagine it would probably be maybe $50, $75 a month.
Does he maintain the dead ends and everything too?
No, we would have to pay for that.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if you know it, but we have 6 dead ends in this neighborhood. We have the one there on Braeburn Glen, on Mahoning, on Imogene, on Kennard. There's another one over here although that's pretty much is kept clean by the owners that live on both sides of it. Or on Altamont, there's one, and then at the end of Altamont, there's another one. But the owners basically keep those 2 clean. The 2 that are normally not maintained, or the one on, well, 3 actually. The one on Kennard, I've reported that to the city numerous times. The one on Mahoning and the one on Braeburn Glen. What it would cost to get that done, I have no idea. I would have to ask, because that involves more than just cutting, because they also have to pick up trash and dispose of it. And disposing of trash is it's fairly expensive. You know, if they do it right, it's expensive. So
Don't they just take it down there to that place on,
don't they just,
down on the freeway, just inside the Beltway?
Jane, don't they what?
Don't they just have to take any kind of trash
Can you
down
hear me?
to that place down there on the freeway and inside, right inside the loop?
My speaker switches on me. Gene,
Uh-huh.
do they what?
There's the neighborhood dump right down on off of 59,
They
right
don't.
inside 8.
Now, remember I said for them to legally do it. Uh, that's supposed to be like from your own property. Once
Oh.
someone is doing it for hire, they're actually supposed to go to another place where they charge uh, anywhere from $100 or more
Mhm.
to take trash there.
Okay.
And so that's how I qualified it was legally. If they don't tell the truth and they say they're, from their house, then they can do that. But I'm not sure how closely the city monitors that now. Used to, they would take your name, your address, they would get your driver's license, but I'm not sure if they're still doing it. Because it's been a while since I've taken anything.
The last time I was there, you had to have like a water bill or an electric bill or whatever from
Yeah,
your
and then you
address.
supposedly only can use it so many times.
Mm.
So, and the dead ends are not so much trimming, maybe the one on Braeburn Glen, some of that is cutting, but it's not a lot. But normally it's the junk that accumulates there. Uh, and so, honestly, although one is a vacant owner, the people that live there really should, because their driveways are real near the end of that dead end. So you would think they would keep it clean, but they don't. But I can ask on that also. I think we were paying at one time about $500, maybe $400 a month to do the property on Mahoning and the dead ends. But the dead ends weren't done like monthly.
Mm.
I think they were only done maybe 2 or 3 times total before they stopped. But I mean, I can ask. But at some point in time, some of us have to, and when I say some of us, especially the people live near there, they have kind of, there's nothing to stop them from going out there and just mowing or picking up some of that trash. Nothing. I know that I pick up the trash on my street. If it's close to
Me
my
too.
house, I pick it up and I put it in the garbage can. And it's not like
Well,
I can bend over like I used to. But I still do that.
that house it's across from David Hernandez. They put up a fence and they mowed the grass and they claim that, oh, okay, now everything is wonderful.
Well,
But back to the vacant property on Reamer, I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure we want to be constantly cleaning it up, but it would be nice if it was cleaned up now, do kind of a one-time deal. I don't know about having it be a consistent maintenance. Would it become our property if we did that?
uh, probably not, unless the owner of that property quit paying the property taxes and we kind of started maintaining the property and paying the property taxes And then you got to do it for 10 years before you
Yeah.
can even try to get title.
Yeah.
So, it's just a thought. The city really needs an ordinance that would allow, and at one time they actually had a program. Once the city mowed it, the neighborhood could go in there and mow it, assuming there were no people there at the house,
Mhm.
and they could charge $50. Basically put a lien on the property.
The city would.
Well, no, actually the neighborhood could do it by mowing it. They just
Oh,
would have to keep a record of it. And I actually got us into that program years ago, but they don't have the program anymore.
Hmm.
So,
I don't have a lot of
but
things
but
anymore.
it's something to think on. We can just keep reporting it to the city, and at some point in time, it, it'll get mowed again. Uh, so speed cushions on Imogene and Jason. The council member told me that they're going to get done, hopefully by the end of this year, but we'll see. Because some of it is out of his control. Public Works is the one that really has to do that. But he said they would also pay for the cushions. So that would be good. Financially, we're fine. We've got right around $84,000 total. This month, our website was due. It renewed for 3 years. It actually took me by surprise because they billed us on the 1st of September and it wasn't due until today. And so when I opened up the bank account and I saw $900 from iPage, I go, oops. They kind of didn't tell me the truth as to when they were going to bill us. But
That was for what? That was for what, Manny?
the website,
Okay.
the websites, you have somebody that does the hosting. Basically, they provide the cloud. Let's call it that, the cloud, to where you get to put your website on their servers. Uh, and so, and they keep those servers up, and they normally work fine with like WordPress. About 50% of all the websites that you go to are WordPress. I actually, when I first started doing websites, you had to know programming, and I used to use a program called Dreamweaver to do that, but now it's not necessary. WordPress, although WordPress itself is free, and many of the things that you use are free, they're basically the basic things. Every now and then you have to pay for something, although you don't really have to pay for I don't, other than the collection, which is about $400 a year. We don't pay anything other than you got to pay for your name. You got to pay for security. Well, you don't have to pay for security, but then you kind of leave yourself open to getting hacked. Uh, I don't know if you ever noticed when you look at something, if it doesn't have an HTTPS, or if it doesn't have a lock on it up at the top, see, that lock means that the website is secure.
When it has the HTTP, that means it's secure.
HTTPS, or it'll have like a lock that's locked actually. That means that website is secure.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not free. So in essence, basically all those little things it was 900 and something dollars that we paid, but we still have 84,000. Uh, and I had mentioned to Eugene that our attorney is retiring, but he may still be taking small cases. But I gotta wait until he decides on that before I give him any more. Of the 10 persons or homes that I gave him that owed us in excess of $500, all of them are paid. One still owes us about 200, another one owes us about 400, but everyone else has paid in full. So, he was very successful in getting people to pay. And including that payment with the $350 that he charged. So, we still have some money with him, and he's still working on that transfer of title on Imogene and Mahoney. And once he lets us know if he'll take more cases, then there's still maybe 15 people that owe us over $600. Some of them I'm not going to give them simply because they're not paying the property taxes either. And if they're not paying property taxes, they're not going to pay us. And if the county or the school district forecloses on their property, we just lose. So it doesn't make any sense to really try to collect from somebody that really cannot even afford to pay property taxes.
That's not very many people out of our neighborhood that owe money, though.
No, I said that much money. There's still quite a few that owe 300 or less.
Oh,
Although we've gone up quite a bit. I think 2 years ago we were like $50,000 uncollected. Right around there. Right now we're around 30,000. So we're collecting. Let's put it that way. It's just it's a slow process. So we just have to do it slowly. This month, I hope I can get my enthusiasm up. Or if not this month, at least the early part of next month, I got to send letters out telling people that we're going to have elections, asking them if they want to be on the board. So, and I got to mail it. Doesn't have to be certified, but I do have to mail it to all the homeowners. I'm hoping that at least the three of us will stay in the positions we're in, and hopefully other people will sign up, but we'll see. But the letters have to go out, and we have to give everybody an opportunity to a chance to be on the board. Although I have sent emails out to everybody, and we have about 250 emails of homeowners, asking them to be on the board, and I have not gotten any response. So I'm not sure what the letters are going to accomplish. But they still have to go out because this year we got to have an election. So,
so
present board members.
you're willing to stay on for another couple of years? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, if you want to stay on for a couple of years, I'll assume everybody that's on there now wants to stay on. But I will ask, if you do from everybody, but this would probably be my last 2 years. Now, if somebody decides to run for president, I'll let them be president. I'll be honest with you. They can do everything that I do. So, but other than that, I'm hopefully someone will set up that, that's willing to learn how to do websites. Some of the stuff that I do is, I won't say it's complicated, but if you've never done it before, you have to learn how to do it. and websites is one of them. It's
I
not,
tell you
it's,
what, I would be willing to step into the void, but only if I could get a lot of people to help, because I am not Manny Barrera. I could not do all that by myself. Don't want to, can't. So, that would be something to think about. But I'm willing to let you keep all your hands on the reins for another couple years. But if it got to that point, I would really want you to help me with the transition, if it came to that.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
got a
hello there,
member,
Barbara.
someone coming in. Hi, Barbara. Can't hear you.
Your mic is off. Your mic is still off. Barbara, your mic is off. Well, she's trying to get that on. The Zoom summary and closed storage, I'm trying something different. Zoom added where they actually will summarize the meeting if you use a cloud, their cloud. I have been avoiding using the cloud because it's limited amount of space, and like everybody else, once you need more space,
Barbara's mic
they
is
want
off.
more money.
Okay.
So, but I'm
Okay,
gonna
bye.
try it out, see how it works. Because certainly, if it summarizes the meeting, that would be good for us. Any questions on that? After this meeting and go to the cloud, I'll find out exactly what we need. I'm sorry?
What would be that it's different than what we already do with Zoom?
Okay, when it stores it on the cloud, have you noticed, like when you use, when you do a Google search, for instance, or even Bing, it'll give you AI summary. So what it's supposedly, but until I see it, I'm not 100% sure. Supposedly what it'll do is summarize the meeting. So the mic is working now, Barbara?
Yeah, I got it. I had to turn my microphone on in the app. Don't know why it wasn't on.
Anyhow, new business and neighborhood concerns, just in time. Because I did say that if you have any concerns, we'll be happy to listen, because unless we hear some things, I don't go out much now. Not that I don't drive, it's just don't like to go out much.
Yeah.
But I do drive through the neighborhood, and I keep track of what's, especially with the hike and bike trail. And people do still send me emails, but that's, so, but anyhow, anything you want to discuss, talk about? I see your sister's there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're here.
What about the upcoming election? Isn't that November? How do we have a committee for for nominating committee?
The problem with nominating is people have to agree.
Well, I've talked to a couple of people who said they would be willing to be a member. I don't know exactly what, but Nellie on the corner here, and who was the other person I talked to? Well, Jean and Carol and I said we would at least be on the board of some sort. I don't know how much longer I'll be in the neighborhood, but at least till sometime next year. But
I mean, we can have that, but you know how I first became president? 2016. I got the ballot and I looked at it and I go, why am I being nominated for president? Nobody ever asked me.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get there. You need people to be say
And
they
so
want to do
I
something.
was
Yeah,
thinking of not doing it, except my wife said, no, go ahead and do it. And here
Yeah.
I am 8 years later. But uh, in fact, Gina and I had talked about it, and I go, the problem is, it's, we can have a nominating committee. That's not the problem. You got to find the people willing to be on the board.
Yeah, but if we know somebody who wants to be on the board, what do we need to do?
Well, by law, what we're supposed to do is actually nominating committees is not really what the law requires now. Actually, everybody has to be given an opportunity to be on
Yeah.
the board. In fact, one of the things we discussed earlier is I'm going to be sending a letter out, either the latter part of this month or the beginning part of October, asking to all the homeowners about the election and asking them to, if they want to be a board member, and and to email us and let us know. I'm even making it easy. They don't even have to fill out a form. They just have to email us.
Yeah,
But last time I did that, I didn't get anybody to volunteer.
yeah. Well, we got to try anyway, because I mean that's where it's required that you do something, right?
Right. No, the law requires we send out a letter.
Yeah.
And we do that, and we also have to pass it, post it on our website.
Yeah.
But the main thing is we have to send out a letter, and we have to give every homeowner an opportunity to be on the board. And when I say every homeowner, that includes even people who are behind on their assessments.
Yeah.
So,
Or don't live here.
Yeah, they just have to.
well, remember, it goes out to homeowners. So even if they don't live here, now, if they, what we could maybe add, if necessary, we wanted to do something, is that that if somebody who is not an owner wants to be on the board, they actually have to get approval of the homeowner before they can be on the board. So, but it's but that'll be going out. But
Yeah.
we can do a nominating committee. No, we really can't. The law doesn't. That's what neighborhoods used to do to keep the same people in control for generations. So basically, they would. No, HOAs. In fact, there's
Well, I
even
mean, I
talk
just
of
know
doing
that we
away with
worked on it a
HOAs.
couple of years back, so I didn't know. I can't even remember what we did.
Because basically it's there's even talk from the state of doing away with the HOAs because of that, because they nominate only people that they want.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
they put a
I
stop
think
to
whoever
it.
wants to do it needs to be, put their name in and we'll go from there. But if people know about it, maybe they know somebody that wants to, or, because I have talked to a couple of people trying to think of who the other person was that said they would do it. But
Well,
yeah,
just to give you an idea, there's 5 of us presently on the board.
yeah,
There's 3 of us here.
yeah.
So
We need people who want. Oh, I know. It was Melanie, I think.
I mean, Alexis normally shows up, and she has for years. But sometimes she works late.
Yeah.
But
She hasn't been at the last 2.
no, she was here last meeting.
Okay, I don't remember.
Alexis was here last meeting.
Okay.
I think she was here also in the general meeting.
Hmm.
But if people want to be on the board, we're not limited to 5. We can actually put them on the board now. All they have to do is let us know. We can, I can set a meeting up and we can put them on the board. And we have one important meeting coming up. And that's when basically to set the rate for next year. We're allowed to raise the fee 3% every year.
Yeah.
So we have that coming up. And so which is really one of the most, that and the budget, which is at the beginning of the year, are really the 2 most important things.
Yeah.
The board will do.
Oh, the elections would be in November, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Assuming anybody signs in.
Yeah.
I mean, if we only have 10, if we have 10 people sign up, and nobody wants to be president. Now, any other officer, and if they want to be president, that's fine. They can take my position and all the work with it. But everything else is open because we really don't have 1 year terms, 2 years terms, 3 year terms, or, which really were never terms like that. What it was is when they first started, everybody was a 3 year director.
Yeah.
But in order where everybody didn't get elected the same, they at one year,
Nice.
3 of them, the next 3,
Yeah.
and like that.
So you always had
But
somebody.
the problem was after so many years, you forget who is who. Because I know that we didn't know who was, supposed to be up next or who wasn't supposed to be up next. It's just people forgot.
Yeah.
And so, and it's not like we had a lot of board members either. Last time we really had, maybe even before Don Hickle, we didn't really have a lot of board members that would show up to board meetings.
Well, when you first started, when you first became president after Miss Martinez abdicated, there were about 8 or 10 of you
Yes, but
on
getting
that
a
board.
yes, but getting a quorum is very difficult. And I'll be honest with you, I never looked into it, but I always thought that 2 people from the same house could not be on the board. Well,
That's what I thought.
after the Johnsons left, I looked, and yes, that was true. And let me tell you, quite often, the only time we made a quorum is because both Patricia and Eric were there.
Yeah.
Because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have had a quorum. And that was even
Well,
before.
we have to work on that. If you get the letters out, and we'll talk to people that we know, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. So,
Sounds like that's the next step, getting the letters out.
it's you can get a lot of people to sign up, get him to, just a few board meetings. It's very hard. Zoom meetings are the easiest way to have meetings. I mean, you don't have to get out of your house. You don't have to dress up. Well,
I
not so
think
much.
it's better if you have them in person because then people actually come. I mean, the last meeting we had at the police station, we had a lot of people show up. That was the last in person, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think we had about 8 people, and most of them
Yeah, there
were the
weren't
board
that
members.
many.
Maybe it was the one before that, the last one at the Civic Club. We had a lot of people.
The one at the Civic Club, we could get people to the Civic Club.
Yeah.
But
No, we'll worry about that on down the road. We just gotta put 1 foot in front of the other, or nothing will happen.
and in fact, the council member was trying, but I didn't think he could succeed to see if the city would let us use the Civic Club, once or every 2 months or something like that, but
What they doing with it? Nothing.
without having to pay. It's
Yeah.
just, maintaining the Civic Club just got too expensive.
They ought to just rent it out.
So, well, we couldn't rent it out.
No, we couldn't, but they should. Now that it's just sitting there doing nothing.
Well,
Well, I heard that it's the Parks Department that's in charge of that. I don't know if that's true or not.
Public Works is the one, or whoever is in charge of the city buildings are the ones in charge of it. Because one person that I know did meet with them to see about renting it out, and she wasn't able to. So,
Well,
it's possible, but if it's only 1 or 2 meetings, we could easily rent a place. The problem is, I'm not so sure how many people we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
The police station is free for us to
Yeah.
use, but also be honest with you, we have a lot of mixed families here, and right now with the way things are, even for people that are like DACA, they don't really want to go to police stations. The only other place is at Balaam Park,
yeah.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
and Balaam Park, I think there's a slight fee now that initially to do it, but
Well, we can look into that for later.
but so anything else?
I have there was an email about somebody wanting to build a condominium
What?
A duplex.
duplex. Well, I just
What
want to
if
go on record to say I'm against that.
Well, that's against our deed restrictions.
Yes. You know, and they send a letter, you know, saying that it's all this things about the value and things like that. And I said, you know, I can present it to the board, but the problem is our deed restrictions don't allow it. And I sent her a copy where it says single family residence only. I said, and even if our board agreed, the entire neighborhood has to vote on it.
Yeah.
That
Then you
can
have
get
to go
very
door to door
costly
and
and
get
very
everybody
expensive.
signatures. Yeah.
So to
I'm
change
against
the,
it too, Gene.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too.
I just think it would be
Mm.
opening a door to a
A
whole bunch
lot
of
of other things.
construction that we
Yes.
don't want.
We have those deed restrictions in place for a reason. Yeah.
so
I was going to say I had an issue with some dogs on Reamer Street, and after calling the city every time they were out for what,
Mr. Long.
8 months, the owner voluntarily surrendered 3 of the dogs because they killed my cat on my porch and they attacked my other cat in my backyard, and they were coming in my backyard. And so I had submitted a picture. Actually, I called Thursday morning, they were out, and then they were out again Friday. And I called them, and the officer actually came out, and it was the second time they'd actually made contact with the homeowner, or I think they rent. Either way, it doesn't matter. And the lady said she didn't want any more problems. The dogs were kind of put on her by someone who stayed with them, and she wanted them gone because she didn't want any more issues. So that was a good thing. That they were out prowling and killing and carrying on. And my fear was it was going to be a kid next.
dogs,
When they're in a pack, like that. They were vicious. Yeah, they even attacked the dog in front of Carol when she was
Yeah.
walking.
city services have actually gone downhill since
Well, you know, I called every time, and every time I talked to 311, they were super, super. But this last operator that I talked to, she was like, "Oh my goodness, we've got to do something about this." And then 2 hours later, I get a call from the officer, and I was like, "Whoa!"
with dogs, you almost have to have video or
Oh, I
pictures.
did. I gave her my
And know who
pictures
the
and my
owner
name
is.
to use. Yeah, and I had to follow them home. It took me 3 months to find where they lived. Nobody knew where they lived.
Because if you know where they live and you have video of them,
Oh,
they
yeah,
will
I have
send they
lots
will
of
send
videos.
somebody out there and they will ticket them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
she
they
did
were
get
gonna cite. She
ticketed.
did get ticketed,
Yeah.
and once before, I think. This is the second time they've made contact with her in the past 3 or 4 months. So I thought they were done getting out because they didn't get out again after they contacted them. But then this week they were out twice, and it's always at night and early mornings. But do you know anything about the Fisher House? If they're doing Manning House, what's their name? Manning. Yeah,
Yeah.
I call it the Fisher House because that was their name before.
What
Across
what are
on
they doing?
Shadow Crest, the house across the street, Ann Manning's house.
A
The
two-story.
abandoned 2-story that's a disaster and has the uprooted tree stump out in the front yard.
You talking about the one that burned?
No, it didn't burn. The one across the street from me.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, 89, no, 8619, I think.
Last time I talked to the council member's office, I was under the impression that the owners were going to do something with it. But you know, it's been a while, but I know
I
they went
report
out
it all
there.
the time when it looks bad, and they did actually, the neighbor actually mowed the yard, the front yard, but the backyard is like an overgrown jungle. Because I got permission from the owner to go back there one day when I was looking for a cat, and it's a disaster back there. There's got to be rats everywhere. But they keep telling me they've taken care of it. They've taken care of it. They've taken care of it.
Are this the owners telling you this?
No, the city. Every time I report them, on 311, then you get the thing and they come back and say it's been taken care of. And I look across the street and go, what? But it's starting to fall apart now because a tree fell on them in the storm last year.
2 years. 2
Barrel.
years.
Yeah.
Well, I do know, at least I was told that the city went out there to inspect it for structural damage, because that's how I reported it. The only
Yeah.
way they'll tear down a house, but let me tell you, it takes years for them to tear
Yeah.
down a house. The exception being like that house that burned,
Yeah.
but it takes years for them to tear down a house. And it's not really the city's
Supposedly
fault,
had it
it's the
sold
state's
through
fault.
home buyers or whatever, home investors, but then they couldn't clear the title. It's still in Ann's name.
Because the way she left it, uh, there's title properties, problems. In fact, we have several properties like that here in the Glen. Too many children and no will.
Well, she doesn't have too many children, that's for sure. Left. She's only got two
Well,
left.
but
They don't care about it.
no, it's children that she had. It's not just the ones left. If
Well,
there's
if they're
no,
dead, what difference would it make? None of them had kids.
oh,
One
well,
kid.
no, the way it works in Texas, if you have 6 children and 5 of them are dead and you don't have a will, all 6 of them are entitled to 1/6 of the property. And if the children is dead, and their children
Yeah.
are entitled to that. So that's where the problem is
Yeah,
created.
the other ones all died as
Well, but did they have
a long
children?
time ago. No.
None of them had children?
I heard rumor that maybe Hugh had a child somewhere, but they didn't even know who it was.
See, so that's where
So
the
they're
problem,
having to post something legally.
so that's where the problem is, because
Mhm.
you gotta find all the heirs.
Yeah, the other ones died before they grew up or thereafter. So
But that's the problem with, something like that.
well, when I had a tree stump in my front yard, I had to have it removed. That thing's been out there for 2 years.
How close is the tree stump to the street?
It's in the middle of the yard,
It's in
but
the
it's
middle of the
massive.
yard.
It was one of the original oak trees in the neighborhood,
Because
They cut the tree down when it fell on the house eventually. But
if
they never,
it's within 10 feet of the street, the city will actually come and get rid of the stump.
yeah.
pretty
No,
big.
I don't think they'll do that then.
No, I
might
actually have
be.
reported 2 of them, and they did
I'll go
come,
measure it.
but it's gotta
Yeah,
be
it
10
might
feet.
be 10 feet
The
from the
street or the
street.
side?
10 feet from the street,
Okay. Not the city easement, huh?
city easement.
Well, city easement is the sidewalk.
Well, some of them,
Yeah.
some are a little bit past the sidewalk.
Yeah. I
But
think it is within 10 feet of that. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So what-
I'll complain about that then. Maybe they'll get that
What
taken
about
out.
the house on Raymore, the lot on Raymore?
Yeah, that empty lot on Reamer where the house burned. Are they ever going to do? I guess you can't really. Do they mow that periodically?
This one.
it's gotta be
No,
reported,
nobody does.
Okay.
and it takes about 6 months at least before they'll come and do anything.
Do we remember the address of it? Cause I don't know what it is.
Well, just go look or look on the map.
Oh,
I'll
look
tell
at the
you.
map, okay.
It's gotta be reported. But
Okay.
city does take a long time. We have 16 council districts. We
Yeah.
only have 14 inspectors, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so it's it's hard, I'll be honest with you. And they're not always inspecting. Every time they write a violation, they also have to go to court. And then from what I understand, what I was told is they're not assigned to districts. So when they go there, one day they may be in this district, the next one they could be way across town. So
Yeah.
it's,
Who owns that property? Who owns that property? Does the city own that property since they tore the house down, or does it still
No.
belong to the deceased homeowner?
it still belongs to whoever the owner was.
And she's deceased, so, okay. Interesting.
But, we were talking about whether, to at least pay one time to cut it and whether to maintain it. But we left that part open.
Yeah. Mhm. You do it to that one, then we got to do it to all these other ones.
Well, no, because we only have one house, one
It's
property
completely
that doesn't
gone.
have a house.
Yeah.
The other ones have houses, so there is an exception on that one. All the other properties have houses on them. But we do have money for, not a whole bunch, but certainly we have the money to like keep 1 or 2 properties like that one clean. And maintain it to a degree. But it depends on how we want to use the money.
Yeah.
So, it's the money's there to be used. At some point in time, we will become the owners of that property on Mahoning and Imogene. You know, we can build something there, if nothing else, just a pavilion where we could have meetings,
Yeah.
open meetings when the weather's good. So there's no parking, so, we would have to expect people to basically walk there.
No, we didn't have much parking at the Civic Center either, so it really isn't much different.
Can we have that thing called a nuisance property and work from that angle?
Which one is that?
The Raymer one?
The one on Reamer.
Well, actually, we could maybe do it. The one on Reamer and actually the one on Shadowcrest. But, we did, a long time ago, we did file a lawsuit on one nuisance property. But the owner was deceased and there were no actually anyone else to respond to the lawsuit. And so based on that, the attorney that represented the Civic Club got a foreclosure on the property and the property sold. So, it is possible.
Yeah.
But again, there was no owner to respond. So that made it a little bit easier. If there's owners that, to respond, it becomes harder. And, lawsuits are not cheap either. So, certainly can be done. Just to give you an idea, the attorney we use is $325 an hour. And
Yep.
that's pretty typical. So
what would have to be done to consider the one on Shadowcrest and the one on Reamer, both of them to be considered nuisance?
okay, the one
property?
here and it was on Altamont and Sagamon. There were people who testified that the house was, people were going in using drugs, things like that. So, even the house over there that crosses on Jason,
Yeah.
People have to be willing to testify. It's just not a matter of doing it. You got to.
Well, there's an owner that steps in every so often to do the minimal there to stop things from going forward.
Because you got to prove up all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the problem is that, there's not a lot of people willing to say, yes, I'll go to court and say that.
Yeah. Things to think about.
Yes. But this year, there's been a lot of houses that sold in the neighborhood. 12
They sold.
that sold. And most of them are $150 a square foot and up. In fact, I think your neighbor sold for close to 300,000, but if I remember correctly.
Whose neighbor?
Yours. The
Where that
two-
little cul-de-sac, or where it's got that little driveway.
Oh, Kim. Yeah, I know you're talking Pat's house. Yeah.
Yeah. So she pretty much got everything that she wanted and it sold real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they rent that out or if he still lives there because I think it's a different person than the one that was there originally. So I don't know. But they're quiet.
But, houses in the neighborhood have been selling well. In
Yeah.
fact, the value, we used to be below Sharpstown. Our values now are at least as equal and in some cases higher than Sharpstown.
Yeah.
So we're not doing bad.
No, I just wish some of these people in the neighborhood would keep their houses up better. The crap, like this house at the corner of Shadowcrest and Braeburn Glen. I used to report that house constantly. They never did a thing about it, and they still have it. Junk in the driveway, trailers in the driveway. Backyard is so full of shit, excuse my language. You can see it up above the fence. They had the gate open one day, and I
Yeah.
mean, the entire backyard is tarps over junk everywhere. But the front, I mean, outside on the driveway, it's clear. There's broken down trailer, garbage, just junk everywhere. And they do nothing about it. The city does nothing. They go and they say they do something, but I've never seen a change.
They'll clean it up for a little while.
No, they don't ever clean it
Ever,
up. Never.
you know, I did mention it. One of the things we did is we actually have, it's $50 fines that we can levy against people for things like that. But, somebody's got to write the letters and keep track of all that.
Yeah.
And
Secretary
so,
should be doing that, shouldn't they?
I'm
Don't
sorry.
have a secretary though, do we?
Well, we don't
I
have
thought
a
Robbie,
we
I
don't have
thought Robbie
volunteers to
said
do
he
it.
would do all that.
What's that?
I thought Robbie said he would be willing to
Yeah,
write
he did say
letters.
that at that meeting.
Well, it hasn't been done. And so, because you got to keep track of it, and we can levy $50 fines, but
Yeah, because I know I used to track all when we do what was it? We used to do the patrol and we'd
Oh,
write
watch
deed
patrol, yeah,
restrictions and
yeah.
we would report violations and send
we
letters. And
actually
I
have-
kept track on a spreadsheet from
our
month to month.
bylaws allow us to do that. And actually the community voted on it. They approved it.
Yeah, I don't know that I still have those spreadsheets because that was another computer, but yeah.
But,
Do we have a form letter that,
I'll have to look and see if I still have any of that. I don't know that I do, but I could look and see if I had that spreadsheet that we used to track it from month to month. So we knew who was continuous and who was cleaning up and the messing up and what the letters said. I can't remember.
but
That
if
was
I'm not,
back when
What'd you do?
but if I'm not mistaken,
across the bayou at the cul-de-sac that used to.
we
Yeah,
can't
letters.
collect on the fines until the houses sell.
Well, I don't care about that. I just,
But they can,
letters,
but they
the
can,
letters do
but
help.
it
People
does scare
actually
people.
respond to letters.
Yeah.
They don't want to be getting those letters, especially,
Right.
you can say they're going to be fine. Whether they are or not is another story.
No, we can actually levy fines,
Yeah.
but we gotta also, every time you do that, you also have to give them an opportunity for a hearing.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. I'm just saying letters going out would probably help some of these places that are just continuously slumming.
Yes. No, in fact, letters do help, but, but, the only thing is who's going to do them and
Yeah.
who's gonna keep a record of them.
Yeah.
And actually they can keep a record and I can save the record. I just don't want to add anything else to add to what I
Yeah, well,
do.
that's why we need to look at that and try to get some more people that will actually be active on the board. So
And
Okay.
so,
about it.
no, we can do letters. In fact, the city's not enforcing no parking on yard anymore.
After
And-
we paid to do that?
It wasn't just the pain.
No, it was a lot of work. I know.
Yes, I spent, I would imagine about 60 hours at least.
Why are
doing
they
all-
not enforcing it anymore?
John Whitmire said they were not gonna enforce them anymore.
So rampant, probably.
So he told the police not to enforce that. Councilman Pollard told us that one of the last meetings with the neighborhood, the greater neighborhood or whatever it's called,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
that council members are working together to try to change things to where they start enforcing that ordinance.
Mhm.
So, but they
It's
couldn't.
favorite.
I
Yeah,
have
we're-
one before we sign off here. What about Neighbors Night Out? That's coming up in October.
Remember I said, we can finance it. The problem is, I'll be honest with you, I'm not good at organizing, nor do I like organizing events like that. If somebody wanted to step up, we could do it, either at one of the flood control properties, or we could do it over there on Imogene and Mahoney.
Yeah.
But,
I think we should. I think when we did it a few years ago, we did see a bunch of people out. People came out
Yeah.
they came out for their free,
Yeah. What was it we did?
Scream or something, or splash or something.
snow cones. Their
Oh,
free
that's right. The snow
cones.
cone truck. Yeah.
in fact, we still get emails from Kona. But if anybody's gonna step up to organize that, I think there's only about 3 weeks left before National Night Out.
I think there's a form that you have to,
Well, you know,
fill out and-
if we want some police here and
Yeah,
that maybe the council member, you know, to show up and things like that, yes, there is a form. But
but you can just do it also, just to get the neighborhood together.
yes, so, but yeah, it's again, somebody has to step up and say, I'm going to do it.
Let's talk about that tomorrow night, Gene.
okay,
We'll go swimming.
cool.
Well, if you did the talk and you just make sure you let me know immediately
Yeah.
because, you know, we have to let the neighborhood know
Yeah,
if we're gonna do that. And so, and also if we're gonna have cones, no cones, we gotta arrange that. Whatever we're gonna have, we gotta arrange that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
do we have to send out letters for that? I can't remember how we did it last time.
we have to
Did you
pass
send
out
out
flyers
letters
or
or do we-
something.
you pressed out
flyers?
flyers like
Yeah.
a day or two before the event,
I'd say a week before.
you know, but wherever it is, there's gotta be enough light. So,
We used to do it also. I know we won't do that this year because it's not possible. We used to have like each block had a deal.
Yeah.
'Cause I know we used to organize it on our block.
Yeah, I remember that.
that was,
People would do
that
it
was
in
quite
their
a few
front
years ago,
yards.
but yes.
Hmm.
Probably one spot would be better at this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, to have one spot would be good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can talk about that and let you know.
Okay,
Okay,
anything else?
Not
No,
right now.
motion to adjourn?
A motion, we adjourn.
Oh, you're not a member yet, Barbara, but if
Oh,
you wanna be
sorry.
one, we can make
All
you
right,
one
y'all
today.
motion.
If you wanna
I'm
be one, we can
motion
make
we
you.
adjourn.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. See y'all.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
Rid of it. No, I mean, I